What's going on, everyone? Happy New Year. I'm kicking off 2023 with a continuation of my reviews of music released in late 2022. And for today's video, that is going to be pop sensation Carly Rae Jepsen's latest release, as she returns with her fifth studio album entitled The Loneliest Time. It's been 2 years since her last major release, and Jepsen makes her return in full force. She initially hit my radar with her hit single Call Me Maybe way back in 2012, and I'm sure many others may relate. I even had the song on my old purple iPod Nano, and I considered the tune a guilty pleasure. And over the years, Jepsen's career grew as her music blossomed, and she developed a devoted following. Her 2015 album release Emotion displayed her strengths as a pop artist, as she continued to deliver solid tunes and songwriting. This album is yet another strong addition to her growing discography. Jepsen showcases her musical growth in the catchiest ways possible. I also must note that I'll be reviewing the original version of this album, so no bonus tracks in this review. The Loneliest Time is a total of 13 tracks, roughly 40 minutes in length. And as always, I'll be offering my thoughts and highlights track by track, naturally starting with the first, entitled Surrender My Heart. The intro track provides a strong sound, which sets the tone for the album. Featuring glittery synth pop production, with its bouncy synth chords and sparkly arpeggios, it's a fun soundscape for Jepsen to sing over. She brings catchy melodies and counter melodies throughout the tune, resulting in a memorable track for the album opener. It's reminiscent of pop music from the 80s with plenty of modern flair. Thematically, Jepsen opens the album on a strong and straightforward note. She sings of wanting to open herself up in order to be capable of receiving love, opening up her heart to be able to accept love from others. I can appreciate the tight songwriting heard here, especially in the first two verses. Jepsen sings, "So I've been trying hard to open up. When I lost someone, it hit me rough. I paid to toughen up in therapy. She said to me, soften up. I'm sorry if I push your good away, especially when I'm needing you to stay. I know you hate that I still test your love. I'm trying not to fuck this up." Themes of various types of love are present throughout the album, so the opening track is an effective way to open up the listener's mind to what they're about to experience. Track 2 is entitled Joshua Tree. Plucked guitar licks open up the track as Jepsen soon begins to sing. Layered vocals build up to the verse as we enter the chorus. It's an interesting section with catchy vocalizations and minimal lyrics. After another verse and chorus, we swiftly exit with the lively outro. It's a fun and funky tune overall, with its smooth drums, grooving bass line, and subtle guitar accompaniment. Lyrically, Jepsen keeps things simple and a bit vague. I believe she's speaking about reflection through deliberate isolation. As she sings in the first verse, "Running from the night, I drove miles away to finally feel alone. There's no moon in sight." She expands on this in the second verse. "Give me paradise. I'll eclipse the stars and fall like ones before. I'm like Aphrodite, and it's fine to only know the things I know." In her isolation, Jepsen was able to look inward and learn more about herself by accepting what she found within. She describes a beautifully freeing experience. Track 3 is entitled Talking to Yourself. This is a catchy pop tune, easily one of my favorites from the album. It features strong production and performances. I especially enjoy Jepsen's vocals and melodies. They're very memorable in the grand scope of the project. I'm specifically thinking of the vocal melodies at the pre-chorus and chorus. They're easily my favorite elements of the song. The punchy percussion and tasteful grooving guitars make a strong danceable accompaniment for the song. And thematically, Jepsen sings of haunting an ex long after their breakup. She poses several questions throughout the song, which we can hear during the chorus. She sings, "Are you thinking of me when you're with somebody else? Do you talk to me when you're talking to yourself? Are you reaching for me, making love to someone else?" Much like an actual breakup, there's no real answers to be found here, and it's funny because no matter what the nature of a breakup is, it's always a two-sided experience, with two parties experiencing the same thing in different ways, and each party does play a role in the split as well. Jepsen seems to touch on that point during the second verse, as she sings, "Don't it hit you subliminal now that I'm not the only one who's taking the blame?" Jepsen wonders, but keeps her distance and never seeks any answers. It's a mature response, as she heavily implies that she's comfortable with not knowing what the other person is actually thinking or feeling, rather choosing to just accept things for what they are. Track 4 is entitled Far Away. This track slows things down with a notable shifting groove. It's not your standard dance pop sound. I love the wispy synths and swells that we can hear throughout the tune. The percussion is very interesting as it feels like it's constantly shuffling to and fro. It's more subdued, thus allowing other elements to flow freely. That includes the thick, groovy bass line, vocals, and lively synth melodies. Thematically, Jepsen highlights an experience that can be common to most relationships. Whether it's the rekindling of an old flame or trying to save a relationship that's on the rocks, the song highlights the need for reassurance that exists in every romantic relationship. Jepsen opens up by singing, "I'd give this love a second try. First, I just imagined all your qualities and that's my fault. But if you could put my feet back on the ground, we could try to introduce ourselves." She then elaborates during the chorus, "Just tell me you need me side by side. The sweetest words of my whole life. Oh, baby, not far away from that conversation." I love her deliberate approach to the songwriting as we get a sense that Jepsen is trying to minimize the distance between her and this person she's speaking to. Track 5 is entitled Sideways. This track keeps a similar energy going as the previous song. We open up with warm crackles and soft syncopated synth chords. The instrumental features a grooving bass line and smooth percussion, and there's also great background vocals with subtle reverb present, which helps create a sleek mix for this song. Jepsen's vocals naturally sit front and center, grooving beautifully over the music. And thematically, Jepsen highlights her own positive outlook on life and explains where it comes from. She uses a new relationship as the frame of reference, highlighting the newfound sense of optimism one may gain in the early days of dating someone. Jepsen describes the intoxicating fumes of infatuation in the second verse as she sings, "One more cute disaster, said I love you twice before you could even answer. It's hard here in paradise." She describes this sense of bliss in the chorus as she sings, "Everything's going my way, and I like to get my way. Even when things go sideways, raining on my parade, I get all my confidence from you." Track 6 is entitled Beach House. This track is a ton of fun, featuring various vocalists to bring plenty of variety in the vocal department. There's about 6 distinct male vocalists featured here from what I was able to find online. The drums are punchy and poppy, and I especially love the subtle, syncopated woodblock that's in the mix. Blink and you will miss it. In the background, we can hear various plucked synths and guitars, and some funky synth melodies appear during the chorus sections. Thematically, it's very tongue-in-cheek as Jepsen sings of the horrors of dating in the modern world. It's clear she's referring to the types of guys one can expect to run into on dating apps, for example. It's a commentary on the abundance of weirdos that exist out there. She mocks them during the bridge as she sings, "Got a weekend in paradise, and I'm probably never going to call you. I got big plans to take care of you, I just need to borrow $10,000. I got a lake house in Canada, and I'm probably going to harvest your organs." She sums up her point in the chorus as she sings, "Boys around the world, I want to believe that when you chase a girl, it's not just hunting season. I can see the future, well, say it like you mean it. I got a beach house in Malibu, and I'm probably going to hurt your feelings." Track 7 is entitled Bends. This is a soft synth-pop tune featuring subdued percussion to drive that energy home. I love the spacious mix which features various synths and pads which hug you like clouds. They seem to hum, almost lulling the listener into a sleepy trance. Bright synths enter the mix during the chorus sections, conjuring a sense of a calm, starry night. It's the perfect soundscape for Jepsen as she provides soft vocals, which sound great in the mix. And I especially enjoy Jepsen's approach to her melodies as they're simple and relaxed. It helps the listener slow down to soak in the sound and the lyrics. And thematically, the song revolves around Jepsen's grief, specifically after the passing of a family member. She describes the experience in the chorus as she sings, "I can feel the sun on you, warm me up the way you do. After all the clouds have dried, here's a jar of tears I've cried. Keep it in a sacred place, hold me in your humble grace, 'cause I can feel the darkness sometimes too." Jepsen also touches on the fact that grief is often a shared experience, as she sings during the second verse, "Moonlight, stars in the water glow. Swim out, baptize me indigo. Just me and all my cousins know. Blue eyes, we are the sensitive ones. Tell me this isn't happening." It's a beautiful highlight on the album as Jepsen takes a moment to slow things down in the most poignant manner. Track 8 is entitled The Western Wind. It's a calm energy all over this tune. It's another personal highlight as well. I can see why this was the album's lead single since it's a very strong cut. The background accompaniment consists of sustained synths, piano chords, and rich background vocals. The percussion is very lively, featuring tons of groove and adding all of that energy to the song. The track also features a lovely guitar solo towards the end, just before the final chorus. It feels carefree and brings so much brightness to the track, as if rays of sunshine were bathing the mix with light. And thematically, Jepsen describes how it feels to fall in love, and I must note it's not specifically a romantic type of love. She paints vivid pictures for the listener by describing memories, screenshots of moments where she felt love in its purest form. It all comes together beautifully as she highlights in the chorus, as Jepsen sings, "Coming in like a western wind, do you feel home from all directions? First bloom, you know it's spring, reminding me that it's all connected. What is love? Coming in like a western wind." She deliberately highlights the fact that the love from others follows you wherever you go. Your loved ones will always be with you, and I enjoy the way she reminds the listener of that throughout the song. Track 9 is entitled So Nice. The background melody opens up the song, ushering in a bright and mellow energy. The percussion and background accompaniment are smooth, with the funky rhythm guitars and grooving bass guitar. It's not upbeat, which in turn emphasizes the groove of the music. There's also a strong, funky instrumental break before the outro, and I love the groovy blend of bass, rhythm guitar, and funky synths. And thematically, Jepsen keeps it short, sweet, and to the point. She sings of the perfect guy and what a relationship with him is like. She highlights a sense of relief in the second verse, as she sings, "I'm back in the middle of what could be complicated. But it's different, it's easy this time. Communicate, don't make me wait, and say whatever comes to your mind." During the outro, she goes on to describe the bliss that one can find in a true love like this. She sings, "Apple of my eye, he took me by surprise. He swept me off my feet. I hope he never leaves me, 'cause he's all of the reasons I know." Track 10 is entitled Bad Thing Twice. This is a smooth synth-pop tune with tons of funky elements. The syncopated bass line comes to mind as it provides the song with a lively foundation. The drums are punchy with their four-on-the-floor rhythms, and the background accompaniment features a blend of glittery pads and synth melodies, providing subtle counter-melodies for Jepsen to float over. Her vocals are breathy and feel a bit more intimate here, and her vocal melodies are memorable. They're some of my favorites on the album. And thematically, Jepsen describes the experience of revisiting an old situation that may have been best left alone. She describes going back to an old lover and asks the question that may come to mind after making such a decision. As she sings on the chorus, "Is it my destiny? A critical test to me. I want to do a bad thing twice. Can't stop feeling the rain before the thunder. I thought it through and I want to do a bad thing twice." During the outro, she expresses the seemingly inevitable sense of regret that many would agree can follow after choosing to pursue an old flame. Jepsen sings, "Caught that fever, I shouldn't be here, only got me to blame. Things ended once for a reason, but it's understandable to get caught up in the emotions and want to circle back." Track 11 is entitled Shooting Star. The synth-pop energy returns in full force with this track. The grooving bass line and punchy drums set the tone, and it makes me want to dance around. The synth timbres are very fun, creating a lively soundscape. Jepsen's vocals also feature usage of a vocoder, which further contributes to the synth-pop aesthetic. The vocals are structured in a way that feels like call and response. The melodic ideas feel paired together in couplets throughout the song. And thematically, it's fun and flirty. Jepsen sings of dancing her fears away and taking a chance with somebody new. There are sexual undertones here, as she describes an undeniably strong connection with this other person. Jepsen sings in the pre-chorus, "Just sweat all my fears away, dancing through the dark, saw your angel face, caught my shooting star." She expands on her feelings in the outro as she sings, "Somebody told me that the night's done. If I play the right song, we could keep the lights on. Somebody told me there's a full moon, and if I play the right tune, would you give me all you?" Track 12 is entitled Go Find Yourself or Whatever. This is a gorgeous and slow ballad. The instrumental features minimal guitar chords and smooth percussion. The guitar licks sound great, and I love the way they're mixed into the instrumental. They're so cozy. There's also the presence of subtle synths and the thick bass line, which make the track much warmer. The cherry on top is the array of synth melodies that appear during the chorus sections. They help flesh out the ethereal sound. And thematically, it's a somber song as Jepsen describes a breakup. In each verse, she illustrates the differences in mindsets between herself and her now ex. It's a great way of highlighting how breakups happen, just because perspectives are very different by the time the relationship reaches its end. For example, in the third verse, she sings, "You could spend your whole life searching, and I could spend the whole day just getting by. But every time the red moon rises, I'll stay up and I'll keep some hope inside." I love the way Jepsen sums up her emotions in the chorus. She sings, "You feel safe in sorrow, you feel safe on an open road. I wake up hollow, you made me vulnerable. So go find yourself or whatever. I hope it treats you better than I could do, and I'll wait for you." She manages to encapsulate the bitterness that one may feel during a breakup and the hope one tries to reach for in order to cope with the whole process. And track 13 is entitled "The Loneliest Time," featuring Rufus Wainwright. The album closes out with a wonderful disco banger, featuring funky bass guitar, soaring strings, subtle piano, bubbly synths, and lively drums. It's great energy all around. There's jovial instrumental performances throughout the song which create infectious energy. The chemistry between Jepsen and Wainwright is very strong as well. I love listening to them bounce off of each other with their performances. This is especially true during the outro as they harmonize wonderfully together. And thematically, they sing of deciding to pursue love once again with an old lover. As they open up in the first verse, "I've had one of those bad dreams where you're standing on your street. I quit smoking those cigarettes, but I'm never getting over it. And you're looking right through me, just like Shakespeare wrote a tragedy. But our story never finished it, 'cause our love, we never finished it." It's a beautiful sentiment that Jepsen expands upon in the outro, as she sings, "What happened was we reached the moon, but lost in space, I think we got there all too soon. But you know what? I'm coming back for you." I like that the album ends on a positive and optimistic note, since it is a theme that she does visit a couple times in the album, but eventually things work out pretty nicely as they describe it. And overall, this is a solid pop album. The project features nostalgic elements and soundscapes. It feels like a blend of familiar cues from 80s pop music and contemporary pop flavors. Jepsen delivers in every way I would expect her to, producing a strong listening experience. Great melodies, memorable instrumentals, and accessible themes all come together to create a great body of music. The music is well paced, which is great because listening to the album never felt like a chore while I was working on this review. And in fact, it was a pleasure for me to revisit the project listen after listen. This is a great album for those that are hungry for great pop music, as it delivers poignant themes and touches on a wide array of emotions throughout the entire experience as a result of the strong songwriting. And I eagerly await Jepsen's next creative endeavor, as I'm confident that she will continue to grow and continue to deliver some great art. If you've sat here and you've listened to me talk about Carly Rae Jepsen and her latest, The Loneliest Time, thank you so very much. And if you're listening to new music, or you make music of some kind and you just want to share that with somebody, you can certainly send that my way. And if you would like constructive feedback or any sort of criticism, I am more than happy to provide that to you as well. And with all that being said, I hope that you're having a wonderful start to the brand new year, 2023. And I hope that you have a very wonderful day. Make sure to stay hydrated. Take care. Peace.